Do you want to save substantial time when setting up your kit? And do you want your drum kit to be positioned exactly the same gig after gig? Or do you want to prevent the fact that your kit slowly moves away while playing? We have the solutions you're looking for. Let's introduce our world famous hooves that maintain the position of your drum kit. These hooves are the backbone of our system. When we say nothing will move, nothing will move.
David Frangioni, on stage, modern drummer, Gunnar Olsen. Gunnar, good to see you.
Good to see you. Good to meet you finally.
Yes, I know. The pleasure's all mine, man. This is going to be great. I can't wait to go over this rig, but we got something for you.
What do you have?
Let's see. We have...
I hope it's a t-shirt.
Oh, well, luck would have it. It's not only a t-shirt, it's...
Oh, it's my size.
All right, perfect. And it is an exclusive rundown, Give the Drummer Son VIP tour kit rundown t-shirt like I'm wearing and some of the guys are wearing. It's very exclusive, so our gift to you.
Well, as a touring drummer who doesn't have that many clean clothes, I thank you, modern drummer.
All right, well, wear it in good health. So Gunnar, this rig, you're out here on tour.
Yeah.
Puscifer.
Mm-hmm.
How's it going?
It's going great. We're basically doing 2.0, the tour we did last summer, Sessanta. So we're getting to kind of do it to all the cities we didn't go to last year.
Oh, nice.
It's a really unique show. All the bands play kind of these little mini sets, 3 songs at a time. And then by the end, we're all kind of playing each other's songs with each other. It's a cool show. And yeah, I mean, there's 3 drummers on some of the songs.
Yeah, amazing. 5
guitarists. I grew up loving Primus and APC. So like to get to play songs with them is still kind of mind-blowing. And,
Dream come true.
And they play songs with us, and yeah, it's really fun.
When did you start with Puscifer?
2020. I actually got the gig during lockdown. Since there was no touring, they had a new record coming out, and they wanted to put out like a live stream of it. Mm-hmm. And they were kind of between drummers, and Jeremy, my dear friend who used to make Q drums, passed away a few years ago, but he was great friends with Matt, the guitarist, and kind of recommended me. And next thing I knew, I flew out, during it all, like in August of 2020.
Oh, wow.
On a plane with a face shield and a mask. And
where were you?
I was in New York, and I flew out to Arizona.
Okay.
And we filmed this whole live version of their record, Existential Reckoning, that came out. And so that was kind of my entry to the band. And I didn't get to tour with them for another 2 years until, things kind of calmed down. So, but yeah, it's been about 5 years straight with them now.
So when you got out to Arizona,
Mm-hmm.
Did they tell you what songs you needed to learn?
Yeah.
How'd it go?
Yeah, we had like maybe a week of rehearsals before, and we basically just learned the record in its entirety, which if you check out the record, it's a mixture of live drums, acoustic drums. So we had to find ways to do that with triggers and pads, and it's kind of what informed the kit I have now, just in terms of sound effects that kind of can mix in with electronic elements and
True hybrid.
Yeah.
So we're going to go over this kit, and I'm very excited for everyone to learn more about what is going on here, because this is truly a little bit of everything,
Mm-hmm.
right? So take us around the kit. You're playing Yamaha drums.
Yeah, recent endorser of Yamaha, but I've been playing them my whole life. This is, I want to say, I don't know the exact year. I'm going to guess it's an 83, 84 recording custom. Big kick, 24-inch kick.
Mm-hmm.
But what's fun about it is we have the 12-inch rack and then an 18-inch floor.
Oh, wow.
So you have
It's
a real
wide
big, you have
total.
a real big spread. And there's some songs where we put kick drum triggers on the floor tom, and so it's really nice and has that really big visceral thing. And then the rack tom just kind of stays in that world of like high tom stuff. And between the two of them, it just, you get a lot of ground cover with just 2 drums, which I really like.
There's a lot going on here, but for the core kit, it's a 4-piece kit.
Yeah. It's all I've ever wanted to really play. You know, it's like that home thing. It's like grow up watching like Ringo and Dave Grohl, and just, you know.
And that's your sound. That's what you're comfortable playing.
Yeah.
Then you have a side snare. What's happening
the
here?
side snare is a Q copper 15-inch, and we kind of do like that, like, you know, dead Fleetwood Mac kind of gushy thing. The main snare is a Yamaha's steel recording custom. It's a 7-inch. I swap out between that and this guy, the Keplinger, which is worth holding just for.
Oh yeah, wow! I don't have to go to the gym if I curl this 10 times.
Yeah, so between this and
this is steel as well.
Yeah, so these two are pretty similar. I mean, this is a newer drum. It's a little lighter, but I've been swapping them out, and they kind of, you know, they're the same kind of tuning, and they have that just big rock, Matt Cameron, just like, you know, big backbeat, open. You know, I try to have a little muffling on it, but they really like to be wide open. You know, they just have that sound.
And this is a 7 or a 6.5?
They're both 7s.
So this is a 7 as well.
Yeah.
Okay. And then you switch it out, not during the show, but like one show you'll play this.
Yeah, like I just, like Greg Crane, shout out to Yamaha. He just sent me this maybe 2 days ago. So it's like, you know, it's fun to play new toys. So I played that one the whole last tour.
Oh, I see.
And I had him send me this one for kind of like a backup snare. But I threw it on, and like just immediately it was just like dialed in. So, I mean, that's what I'll say about these. I mean, all the Yamahas I played, but this kit, we just threw on the new tom heads. Got pinstripes on both and a power stroke on the kick, and they Remo, and they just like, they dial in immediately. You know, like Joe, my tech, Joe Slaby, world famous Joe Slaby.
Of course, we love Joe.
Throws on the. I mean, that's what's great about these drums. They just work fast.
What's on the bottom heads of the 2 tops?
I think it's clear ambassadors.
Okay, the same.
Yeah. So just, I mean, with Yamahas, especially the recording customs, there's just like that classic.
Let them sing.
Pinstripes on the top, you know, like Vinny and Weck, all those guys who were playing those back in the day. It's just such an iconic. I'm kind of nostalgic in that way.
I love it.
Yeah.
And you got lug locks.
Yeah, the Rock Locks. I don't endorse these guys, but I fully endorse them. They're just great. They're like the easiest ones I've ever used. They keep your lugs right in place.
Have a little tuning intact no matter how hard you hit.
Yeah.
And so you've got a controlled sound on the 15-inch snare, and same on the primary snare.
Yeah.
And then you've got these mufflers.
So I got a few different ones. These are my big fat snare drum. Shout out to Ben and Chris.
Okay.
And those are just great for kind of immediate. You know, I can throw that on ear. If I'm doing like a more like kick, you know, pattern on the floor tom, it just deadens it up in a really.
And you'll change them out through.
I'll throw these on during the set. Okay. And then I have these snare weights that just clip on right to the rim, and these will stay on the whole show.
Oh, okay.
So what's nice about them is when you're really hitting the drum, they kind of flap up a little bit, so it's almost like a live gate.
Oh, interesting.
And
sure.
I personally
don't give you a little bit of tone, so it's not tape.
It's not really. It's not choking the drum, and I'm not a fan of moon gels. You know, bless you if you are, but I just don't like how they get gross, and so these are like a cleaner option, and you know, and they.
And who makes them?
Snare weight.
Snare weight, and they're on the toms and the snare.
Yeah.
And then single pedal, Yamaha hardware.
Yep.
Everywhere I look, I see DW hardware or Yamaha.
Yeah. Yeah, I'm waiting on a few more things from Yamaha, but I mean, yeah, this is the hardware we've been using for a few years, so it's just kind of going with it.
And then you're a Zildjian guy?
Zildjian guy.
All right, what have we got? I see.
This is made by Morph Beats.
Okay.
They're a metal percussion company. It's just a nice, really quick little mini stack.
It's almost like a metal 808.
It's almost like, it's kind of like I was saying, going for those metallic sounds that fit in with electronic programming.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah. Then you got a dark crash over here. Looks like a 20.
I love this. This is probably my favorite Zildjian crash. 20.
It's a 20-inch dark crash.
Yeah.
Okay.
Great crash.
And then 15-inch.
These are both 16s. So this is the
16.
This is the 16 lights and the 16 suites. The last tour I was using the fat hats, the 15s here, but I just kind of wanted to go 16 on both sides, and I keep these pretty tight the whole time, so it's not like a pedal or anything. I just keep it because I find there's certain patterns I like to do with my right hand, and then I got this fun toy over here. Creative Percussion makes this guy.
I was going to say, I thought the U.S. Army made it.
Yeah, it is an old tuna can, but what's great is you can play eighth notes with your foot, but depending on how you have the spring, you can allude to the sound of a 16th note. I can do that with my foot, and I can keep time on that hi-hat.
Nice. And then you've got
this is the Peter Engelhardt Reco, and I think he calls it his Crasher. They're two separate things. I just kind of
one looks like a cowbell. Oh wow, it's a cowbell.
And then that's a nice little accent guy.
Awesome. This is the which shaker?
It's called the Varial Pitch Can Shaker.
Okay. And is that made by the same guys as this?
No, these three things are three different, smaller business.
I see. When did you discover these different bits and pieces?
Kind of when I got the gig. When I got the gig, and I knew
5 years,
and I knew there was a lot of kind of metallic sounds that are on the recordings.
You wanted to do them.
So these are Matt's from the bands, and the kit is his too. So we bring out his kit, and he's got a great drum collection himself. So these are his, and then this is something I just randomly found on Instagram. Nice. And same with Morph Beats, drummers like Mark Juliana and a few other people I follow were playing. He's made these big crazy, this called the Marvin. It's this big, huge cowbell. Check his stuff out. He makes really cool stuff.
And over here you have a 22-inch.
Yeah, this is my favorite. Ride. I've been playing this model Zildjian ride for probably 20 years before I ever, even dreamed of being endorsed. I can crash it, I can ride it has a great bell.
It's all there.
It just does it all. And then the old trusty A Custom. I mean, you can't go wrong with an A Custom.
Yeah, it cuts.
Yeah, it cuts, and it's just fun to ride.
And what do you put? And what size is this?
20.
Oh, 20. Okay, so you go with big cymbals, so you can get the.
I would say this crash and these hi-hats swap out kind of just the mood I'm in for a tour. But I've used these on every Puscifer thing I've ever done. I use this ride on everything and this crash.
And then what about electronics?
Electronics, we have a Roland Brain, and I just have a couple pads over here that I play on a few. On the record that we were doing in Arizona, Existential Reckoning, there was a lot of pad stuff. So I also had one of these kind of mounted here. On this tour, we're doing a more live version of some of the songs, so I probably hit this 4 times a night.
Okay, but you're triggering.
Yeah, we have a few snare samples, and we have a few kick samples.
Oh, I see. This is triggered too.
Yeah. So usually when we're utilizing triggers, it's more to trigger an electronic sound rather than
an enhanced acoustic sound.
Yeah.
It's a distinctive sound.
Or occasionally we'll take a snare hit with a lot of reverb from a record and put the reverb on there. So you're kind of triggering
the exact ambience.
Yes.
Nice.
Yeah.
So you got the triggers going, and then you are triggering a Roland
TD50X.
Okay, and you've loaded some of your own samples in there, etc.
Yeah, and we have it set so each song has its own kind of, matrix. So each song has its own sounds, and so when the song changes, the sounds on these triggers and these will change.
No bass drum trigger.
There is one kind of hidden back here.
Okay, so everything but the rack tom is triggered.
Yep.
And you've got a Porter and Davies.
I do. I love it. Yeah.
You feel that.
Yeah, on a big stage without it, you just kind of feel puny.
I see.
And
are you all ears?
We're all ears. I actually use cans. I use the GK Ultraphone.
Okay.
I'm just not an in-ear guy.
Okay.
And I think it looks kind of cool.
Yeah.
And they sound great. They have Sony drivers in them, and I've been using these for 5 years, and they just last.
Plenty of gain.
That's
tough. It's tough on stage.
Well, you know what's great about them? Because they're gunshot mufflers. So they already block out the sound so well, so you don't have to actually crank the music that loud. I find when I'm wearing in-ears all day, I go home and I'm just kind of in a fog. And with these, I'm not blasting the drums because the drums are already kind of canceled.
Yeah.
I would recommend them for younger drummers because I think you'll protect your hearing a lot better.
Sure.
Especially like so many drummers are playing to click nowadays, I started just using them at rehearsals and then wearing in-ears at the shows. And then I said, who cares? I'm just gonna wear them all the time.
Right. And they're working.
It worked for Keith Moon. He wore overears, you know.
That's right. And he looked cool.
Yeah.
Because he was cool. And you're cool. And this rig is cool. Is there anything else that you want to share with us about this rig?
I'm just like happy to, Vader drumsticks. I endorse.
Hey, okay.
It's my little signature on there. Power 5B.
Nice.
Yeah. Shout out to Zildjian, Vader, Remo, Yamaha.
They're taking good care of you.
Taking good care of me. And it's all companies I would play because I want to.
Right.
Those
are your choices, and now they've come on board.
Yes.
To just help the touring process.
Yeah.
Because that's really with you.
It really helps. And, all the people at those companies are great people. And
we love those companies. We have great relationships. They're amazing. Yamaha, world class, first class.
Yeah. So I'm pretty happy. I'm pretty stoked on the kit. It sounds great. Dave, our sound guy, gives me good reviews on it. And
let's hear the kit.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
Let's hear it. So, Gunnar.
Yeah.
When did you start playing the drums? What age?
I want to say 14, 13, 14.
And how'd you find the drums?
My uncle's a drummer.
Okay.
My mom's a big music fan.
Right. Where'd you grow up?
Grew up in New York City.
Okay.
And
so the hustle and bustle, you're into.
And my dad's a Broadway musician. So there was a lot of it was just, it always was a possibility that I, was just around.
Yeah. That was their livelihood. That was their life.
Yeah. Yeah. And then I ended up going to music and art school, LaGuardia High School, and it just kind of fell into punk rock and the jazz band. And so I was kind of doing all things at once. And then my mom took me to Woodstock 94. And that changed that was one of my first Aerosmith
and Metallica.
Primus.
Yeah.
Green Day. It was a very formidable time.
And rainy.
Very muddy. Yeah. My mom still has my muddy shoes saved.
Who is a huge influence of Gunnar Olsen's?
The first three that I always think of, Dave Grohl, Nirvana was just kind of hitting right when I was taking drum lessons. It just kind of, Nevermind is when you're learning to play the drums, you can kind of quickly play along to it, which I just think is so magical. Lars was Metallica, was, And Justice for All was a big record right when I started playing drums, and Cork Soda, Primus. Tim Alexander's playing on that. Just those three guys were kind of the first I gravitated towards. And
those are your initial drum heroes.
Yeah.
What about an inspiration just overall? If you had to pick one person, could be your dad, could be a teacher, it could be, Napoleon Hill, whoever, whatever was the biggest mentor influence on you.
I'm gonna go with dad. I think even though I didn't realize it as a teenager, because when you're a teenager, you're kind of there's a little of that.
Yeah,
but,
sure. We're all rebels.
But I don't know. He never gave me the talk what are you gonna do with your life? He was a musician, and I saw how seriously he took it. And
total pro.
Anybody I meet who knows him has the nicest things to say about
him.
Led
by example.
Yeah, he's on time. You show up. You say you're going to be at a show at this time. You get there and just pro. And yeah.
And he was a big positive influence on you.
Yeah, I mean, he let me set up a drum kit at his house in New York City, which basically got him evicted because they were tired of a 14-year-old learning how to play Primus songs. But he's like, no, my son's gonna learn how to play the drums, and he stuck up for me. And
that's
and so
what a great man.
Yeah.
What is something that people don't know about Gunnar Olsen?
I'm a huge Sopranos fan, but people probably know that if they follow my Instagram. That's a good question. I write a lot of music and make a lot of music that's not just drum related. So I make a lot of electronic music. I play guitar, I do a lot of programming. I make a lot of music for various companies, for jingles and stuff. So when I'm not touring, or even sometimes when I'm on the road, I can work on my laptop in Ableton and make music for other artists. And that's not even drum related, you know?
Is that the tool of your trade, Ableton Live?
Yeah. Yeah. It's really the only program that I ever learned. And
it covers all the bases.
yeah, for me. Yeah. And it's kind of, it keeps growing with artists. So I feel like things you couldn't do in it and only do in Pro Tools, now you can do the same thing in all of them. So I feel like just focus on one thing and just get really good at that, rather than, oh, I want to learn how to do a little of this, a little of that, you know. That's worked for me.
What was your first big break?
My first big break. Oof. Well, I feel like as you evolve, like every little break is a big break when it happens.
Mm-hmm.
The one that all my family was able to tell people about was I played with Springsteen, and we filmed a concert movie in 2018. That was kind of the thing where I was like, oh, like my mom, you know, remembering watching the Born in the USA video with my mom, and now I'm like
Playing with
at his ranch, and like where he's asking me about my mom, you know, just like.
And Van Zant's there, so you have your Sopranos tie-in?
He was not there.
Oh,
I wish. That was, yeah, it was a separate band, but
Okay.
yeah. Haven't met him yet, but I've heard great things. Yeah.
Amazing.
I need that for the tie-in.
Gunnar Olsen, David Frangioni, Modern Drummer. Thank you guys for tuning in and checking it out. You're the best part of Modern Drummer. We love you guys. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button below, and we will see you soon.
Thanks, guys.